luck. That looks all right.
Yeah, you look good. You look good for so far.
Thanks.
Right.
Like,
We're
will
live
it keep
too.
it better without these lights?
Sit back down again.
There's one off. Put that off. That's them both off.
Um, yeah, I would leave one on.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, that looks good. Hmm.
Oh, sorry. Just anything. Shutting the bathroom door so she can't empty the trash. All right, I'm ready to roll.
All right. Let's actually before we get rolling, what do you want to do here? You want to go chronologically? You want to take the reins? You want to
We can get it chronologically. I won't make this all about me.
No, I mean, I think you deserve your spotlight. But in the Texans Chiefs, I mean, talk about a predictable outcome. All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
very
we can get that done, and then get on to the fun stuff. All right, we will get started in 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to the Wise Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
I know you're feeling fantastic, Chris. We had a great divisional weekend of football. We are going to go chronologically. So, Commanders fans, hold your seats. We'll get there. But we do need to start out with the Texans Chiefs, the predictable 4:30 kind of snooze fest of the weekend. I mean, it was a back and forth game. It was close. It wasn't back and forth, but it was close. And the Texans, they held their own for a little bit. They had played great defense, but their special teams got ran through, and the Chiefs just ended up. That's how the Chiefs end up winning these games. They just end up sneaking in any way they can,
It
and
had
the mistakes are on.
everything you could ever ask for in a Chiefs game.
Yeah,
The
2 missed field
2024
goals
Chiefs.
by the other team, a missed extra point, killed the spread. I did have 8.5. I suggested that on the pod. Do we need to pause for a second? You good?
I'm checking our audio. All
Okay.
right, we're good.
All right.
There's a delay, so I had to wait for myself to talk.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
no.
checking the audio. Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought you were getting a phone call. Um,
No, yeah, I realized that it did look like that.
no, good check.
If you're not a frequent live viewer, then you'll know what we're doing. But that's a
Yeah.
pickup. So that's a couple podcasts.
Yeah, we were making sure that the audio was working. We have done that in the past 2 out of the past 5, I think. So it's getting hairy. Glad you did. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
That's so really the Texans. They played almost a perfect game. I mean, besides the missed kicks and the bad special teams, they did everything they could on offense. They ran Joe Mixon. They controlled the ball. And it just wasn't enough to stop this Chiefs team. It just never is. The second you see those little mistakes happen, you know the Chiefs are going to capitalize on it. And I mean, yeah, all the penalty yards too by the Texans. There was some bullshit calls. We'll give it that. But they still didn't do enough to beat the Chiefs. And even though they outgained them by 100 yards, they didn't have a turnover. Um, that's a fake stat, by the way. Missed kicks, that's a turnover. That should count as a turnover, even though it's not on the
You think?
quarterback. Yeah, I mean that's basically missing it on fourth down, right? And I guess you don't count that as a turnover either,
Kind
right?
of.
It's just a turnover on
No, that's like a
downs.
separate. Yeah, it's a separate stat. That should be turnovers, I think.
It-
Um,
It's like a,
yeah,
it's
I
a.
mean, it's just like, but
I was just gonna say it's a way to say like, oh, the Texans did all this and didn't win. It's like, well, they did miss two kicks that were very important and
yeah,
would have mattered. And then they took that safety, which I thought was stupid too. I don't ever understand like the taking the safety. Why don't you just like punt it like normal?
I don't know. It's just like this whole game is just a reminder of like if you don't play perfectly against this team, they're gonna beat you,
It's a reminder
and
that they're
it's
going to
so
be in the Super
frustrating.
Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. And like you're gonna have like BS stuff that happens. Like you're gonna get running the passer calls. You have to just account for it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, like you're gonna have weird stuff go wrong where like your kicker's gonna miss two field goals or something like that. Like that's the Broncos. They know
Yep.
block kick last
Yeah.
second of the game, stuff like
And
that. It's always gonna happen. So you have to put yourself in a position where, and we said before the game, if they have the ball at the end of the game, they have a shot. And you were in a position where you didn't have the ball, nor even if you did have the ball, would you have a chance to take the lead. So
it was super predictable on the Chiefs' offensive side too. I mean, just a ton of
couldn't
Travis
run the ball
Kelsey
at all.
early. They couldn't run the ball. Mahomes had to use his legs. I mean, he ran it 7 times. He didn't really use it he didn't have like a long run or anything. That was kind of like the thing that didn't happen. We kind of expected Travis Kelsey and then Patrick Mahomes' legs. Um, so he didn't break out in that big run, but he didn't really need to. He dumped it down to exactly where he needed to go. I mean, he didn't complete a pass to anyone not named Travis Kelsey, Noah Gray, or Xavier Worthy. And I mean, one Kareem Hunt completion, but
One.
for 2 yards.
It's so weird that they have DeAndre Hopkins and he's just like not a factor at all.
And he'll be a factor. I don't think this is
You
like
think
yeah, I don't think it'll be like a,
they didn't need it? They didn't need him
no,
this week.
no, I like it. No, he's going to catch like 2 touchdowns in the AFC Championship or
It's true. Yeah.
like a massive, massive third down catch. And they'll be all right. Um, I think he'll be used just like Travis Kelsey. I don't think they needed him in this game. I like to just bring
This
Travis in.
defense also is a lot better than the Bills defense that they're going to see next week.
Oh yeah, yeah. This
Like
is
this Texans defense actually is legit. We had to give them their flowers last week, and
mhm.
as far as playing at Arrowhead goes, they held their own.
Did you see that most of the defensive players' quotes after the games were like related to the refs? Will Anderson Jr. said,
Mhm.
"We knew it was going to be us versus the refs going in."
Yes,
Um, kind of.
can't be having that.
No, he's going to get fined big time. But
And if you knew that going in, like you've already lost.
yeah, I was going to say loser talk, like kind of like loser talk.
Yeah, like
Um,
you're going in like, oh, we have to beat the refs. Like, how about you just
yeah.
go in knowing it's a road playoff game and like
Mhm.
you're gonna have to battle adversity.
All right, let's move on from this game. I'm talking this game. Um, let's move on to what we want to talk about here. The Commanders at the Lions. Chris, take it away. It was a spectacle.
It was by halftime. I had texted my mom and said this is already the most memorable game of my lifetime,
Yeah.
and that was 30 minutes into it. And at that point, they were up 31-21. The I just start big picture before getting to the specifics of the game, but this is hard to believe on so many different levels. Um, the fact that they went into that building against that team uh, and beat them by 2 touchdowns, like with this roster that was 30th in rush defense and that has one elite playmaker on offense, a run game that's been non-existent for 8 weeks now. Um, Half of the secondary's been cut this season. They have like their best player on defense is 35 years old. and he's at probably the least important position on defense. No offense to Bobby Wagner, obviously he's been awesome. All those things, and you just go into the juggernaut that is the Lions and punch them right in the mouth from the start. They force a 3-and-out on the first drive of the game, and never lose control of that game. It's shocking. It's like I feel like again, all anyone wants to do is talk about Jaden, and maybe it's just because I've talked about him so much already. But this was a team win. Like they forced 5 turnovers in this game. Sanders still had 2 picks. Jeremy Chin had a pick. They had the fumble. Like
Pick six.
it was an actual team win. Yeah, the Quan Martin pick 6. So Brian Robinson showed out. Finally, the offensive line looked incredible. De'Ami Brown, again, revenge game against Amon-Ra St. Brown was pretty cool. So, like, this is obviously Jaden was about as close to perfect, I think, as you can be.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, he is the reason that we're here, but they have peaked as a team at the right time. And the fact that this roster was 4-13 last year, and it took them 1 season to get to 14 wins in an NFC championship is like if they beat the Eagles, it's the best turnaround in sports history, I think.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Like what could be better?
I don't know. That's a what if we'll have to get into a debate if it happens.
Well, okay, yeah. Pause that even right now.
I agree. There is
Like
it's
getting to the NFC
unprecedented,
championship.
especially in the NFL. When you look at the way rookie quarterbacks win in the NFL, it's it's Joe Flacco on a great Ravens team. It's Big Ben on a great Steelers team. CJ Stroud last year. I mean, I wouldn't say he was on a great team, but he had a pretty good roster around him. The Brock Purdy on those Niners teams that were loaded. And it's always number one, like they're always top 5 special teams and defense. And the special teams and defense all season long for the Washington Commanders have been, I don't know, 24th. Yeah, 24th, 26th overall. And the fact that he's carrying this team with all the confidence that we talked about last week, with all the poise, and he almost has this superpower where he hasn't had these other playoff games to worry about and be like, I can't make this mistake. I can't make this
Mm-hmm.
mistake. Like he's just playing the same way he was playing at LSU, the same way he's been playing all season. And the team gives him confidence to do that without these superstar playmakers, without the superstar defense. And the nobody believes in us factor of this team grew throughout this game. And
Yep.
there was a time it was 7-0. Commanders go for it on 4th down. They do the stupid Marcus Mariota pitch play. And I was
The
like,
game
did
is
they
over.
just did they just blow this whole season down the drain
I thought the game
doing this
was
stupid play? And then
well,
luckily,
they weren't down yet. That was their
yeah.
first drive. They forced 3-and-out. They
Mm,
marched right down the field, and then that play. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like they just lost the game. You had a
yeah.
chance. That was the chance. Like, boom, jump on them. 3-and-out was the most stunning thing of the whole
Yep.
season. I think that
Hmm.
they forced a 3-and-out on the first possession, and then oh, I can't even believe. Like, I shouldn't be angry about it because who cares? But I still am in disbelief that that was the play call. Like, it doesn't matter. Never mind.
It
It's
was
not worth it.
it was an impossible play call. But against though you're right. It was now 0-0 still. Lions get the ball. They go down, they score. You go back, you then go for it on 4th down, get it, go then don't then kick the field goal again. And I'm like, this team needs to figure
I
out
know.
like what it's doing. And then they never look back. The Lions completely fall
Nope,
apart
because the
on
next drive was a
offense.
fumble.
Yep. Yeah, that was a massive fumble. Um, just that like
Shout out Dorrance
that.
Armstrong, who I don't think I've said a good word about this whole
Yep.
season, making that play.
And that was the play you needed. Like that was the play I was like, they can get the
Yep,
momentum and
that
steal
changed
this
the game.
back. And I didn't think you were gonna get the 3 other turnovers, the 4 other turnovers. Um, but that was the key, and they capitalized on that, and they probably could have ended up winning with just that fumble because of how well the offense was
Mhm.
playing. But then the defense just kept cooking, and the Lions' offense kept collapsing. The pick six, um, where
Anytime the
Goff,
ball was not in Jahmyr Gibbs' hands, something bad happened.
yeah,
Like if
yeah,
that dude
and
touched the ball 35 times, this is a much different football game.
this
It was malpractice.
this needs to be studied under a microcosm of some other games that maybe I'll do some research on eventually. But Ben Johnson, there's no way he was fully prepared for this game. This guy has been interviewing for the Bears all week, and I mean, when you're doing it, like, there's no way he was focused on this game because this guy came out with, I mean, they're down, they're going down to make it right at the end of the half, 28-31, and they're driving down, and they do this stupid play to Jamison Williams, and
No, that
was
was in
that in
the
the
third
third?
quarter
Okay,
or
that was in the third.
early
That was the first
fourth.
drive of the third or the
Early
second
fourth
drive of the third?
is the fourth.
Oh, well, I'm getting this all confused.
Because
But
they were
either
up.
way, they had a chance to make it a 10-point game, um, or make it a 3-point game, make it a game.
Yes.
And Ben Johnson has that dumb play call. Jameson Williams goes right to you guys. And I mean that's just like when you look at that, that just looks at a guy that wasn't fully prepared for this game. Like you can't be
Not
pulling out that when
not
you're
bad for a bunch
you're
of
driving.
basketball guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the other thing that like I do feel bad for Lions fans because like God knows I know what it feels like to have a football team that doesn't win for that many years, and this was the year.
Mhm.
So it is awful, and like I can't even imagine that kind of heartbreak.
Yeah.
Uh, Beating Ben Johnson is awesome because that dude like led us on for weeks that he was going to be our head coach, and then at the 11th hour, like Josh Harris was on a plane to go interview with him again, and they had to turn the plane around. He was like, I'm actually not. I'm going to stay in Detroit. And there was a rumor that he said something along the lines of he didn't want to join that organization because it was run by a bunch of basketball guys and he didn't want to take a quarterback at two. I don't know. I don't know what's true and what isn't. But if any of it's true, it just makes it so much sweeter that they beat that dork and
Now he's on
came
the
back to
Bears.
win. Did not win. Now he's got the Bears.
Yeah, he's the Lions. They're in a tricky position. They're losing all their coordinators. Both their big coordinators, and I heard like the Pats are looking at their defensive line coach. They're gonna be picked apart. And Dan Campbell, he's a good coach. He's got a good roster. He doesn't have this boy genius and Ben Johnson with him anymore, but he should be able to repair and hopefully find a guy that's close or can get you some offensive production with Jared Goff. That's really what you need. It's just some guy who can speak Jared Goff's language because you have him locked up for the next 4.5 years or whatever, however long it is. I think it's 4 years, 5 years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they need to be able to maximize this golf contract that they're in it. Um, their defense
Well,
was
Goff wasn't very good on
no,
Saturday.
he was terrible.
Didn't have a great game.
No, he was terrible Saturday.
Also
And
got lit up in the second quarter, which couldn't have helped.
I was gonna say he definitely got
I
concussed. He definitely got concussed. Um,
shouldn't be laughing.
no, he
I
got
don't think concussions are real in the playoffs.
no.
They
They
just
took
throw you right back out there.
well. Teddy had a drive, and he had maybe 2 or 3
That was
plays.
the Jameson Williams play
Yeah. Oh
where he
yeah.
ripped off a 60-yard touchdown. Well, I
Yeah.
shouldn't say the Jameson Williams play because there was one very good one and one very bad one that we already talked about. But yes, they did score a 60-yard touchdown with Teddy out there. That's the thing about the trick plays is they burned him a couple times.
Hmm.
Like they scored that, they ran that awesome like shovel pass.
That was cool.
They flipped it to Montgomery and then he
Yeah.
shoveled past to Amon-Ra. That was a cool play.
Yeah. That
And I
was
don't know
sick.
how you defend. Like, how could you possibly prepare for something like that?
No, I have no idea.
So I was like, well, like, damn, I don't. That's fine. If that's how they're going to beat us, that's how they're going to beat us.
Hmm.
And then he just got too close to the sun. I think is what you said. Actually, you
Yeah,
texted
I
me.
texted you that Ben Johnson flew too close to the sun.
You
No, he
did.
got too cute
Like
with it.
Jameson Williams has to know. Yeah, like maybe give the ball to Jameer Gibbs. There's 12 minutes in the game. You're down 10.
He gets
Like
19
all
plays
you
or
need to
19 yards a carry.
they that first drive that they scored, they ran down the field in like 45 seconds and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs,
So
I
like
mean,
I
he
don't know
got like
why
10
at
yards
that
every
point
time
in the
he caught
game
the ball.
it was so easy, and they just kept running Montgomery up the middle, which the Commanders were actually slowing down. And I said this like almost as a joke before the game that Montgomery being back took away from Gibbs, and it like that was the
It
silver
did.
lining. That was real.
Yeah, it was
He
real.
should not have touched the football
No, he every
ever.
time he
I
touched the
don't
football, he looked
understand.
so much slower than Gibbs did, and Gibbs
Yeah,
was
because he is
blowing
so
up
much.
runs.
It's,
He is
it's
so much slower. Yeah, he's a torn ACL, so I don't blame him.
right. Yeah, it doesn't help. Um, yeah, no disrespect to David Montgomery. It's incredible that he's come back already from that injury, but like, damn, give it to Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah, they
And I
had
know, like, if you look at a stat sheet, he had a lot of touches, but
he
not
could
as
have
many as
used
he could
10
have.
more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they would be right in that game if he had, 10, 5, 6 more touches, whether a couple catches or carries. But I completely agree. They got too cute with it. They decided to use a bunch of different things that they didn't need to, and if they just focus on what they were good at, which is weird because they did that all season long, the Lions. That's how they killed you. Is
mhm,
they figured out just to pound ground pound on you and just what your weaknesses were, and then pick you apart from there. And at no point did the Lions have a they never settled down. They never, like, sort of breath.
no.
It was just like,
Ever
"Go,
since the
go,
fumble,
go." Yeah, and they kinda lost their ways where
well, the
that's
thinking all week
you
was
can't play
like,
like that.
if this game gets into a shootout, there's no way Washington can keep up.
Mhm,
And what happened was the opposite.
mhm.
That this game got into a track meet halfway through the second quarter, and Detroit kept pissing down their leg and turning the ball over.
Yeah, yeah, and, we were talking about Washington had a bad run game. They had a great run game this week.
Robinson looked great. And
Robinson,
like this defense is just
they
gashed
were
with
decimated,
injuries. So you have
decimated.
to say that, obviously. But yeah, it's the best the line has looked in a while. And
Mhm.
it's definitely the best that Robinson's looked.
Let's bring that up with the Lions real quick. I think if you look at their depth chart, they had, like I think they had 22, like, starters and backups. I think they're missing, like, 15 or 16 of them. Um,
It's
so they're
I
on,
think it
like
got
they're on guys of
overblown.
the
There were
street.
they had like 15 guys on IR. They definitely weren't all starters, but Hutchinson and then I forget his name, but another guy up front, like serious impact player, both out. So they had virtually no pass rush. Um, Secondary, they had um, Ward out, or no.
Robinson got out in the game.
Carlton Davis was out, and then Robinson got hurt on like the second play, broke his arm.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, like you have your third and fourth, maybe even fourth and fifth string cornerbacks trying to line
Mhm.
up against Darren McLaurin. Um, it did not go well.
No, it was bad, and you really felt like they just didn't have enough guys. They really just didn't.
No, they definitely didn't. But they still win this game without the turnovers, I think.
And I was gonna say the defense was not the reason why they lost, though. The offensive missing on their leg is why they lost.
Yeah.
All right. Um, what else? Well, I mean, what else is there to say? They kind of spanked them. That the Terry McLaurin, like the
I will say
RPO touchdown,
the
broke
part of the
two
game
guys' tackles.
where I was like really like what is happening was the pick six because they had just scored the McLaurin touchdown, I think, to go up 17-14. And Brady which by the way, I haven't liked Brady most of this year. I thought he was good the other night.
Yeah, he
I
was
actually
solid.
enjoyed listening to him.
I do want to bring up to
I
remind
think
me to
he's
bring
gotten
up a
better.
Brady point right after you're done this.
Got it. Okay. Um, and he's talking about how like concerning it is for the Lions right now. He's like, you're the one seed at home and blah, 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 and all of a sudden you're down at home here. Like you didn't expect to be in the spot, and things are starting to get tight for Dan Campbell a lot. And then boom, like next play, off airmails the throw right into Quan Martin's hands. Dodges like six guys, and then they're up 10. And I was like, holy shit! Like we have a ball game.
Yeah, yeah. They That was an awesome moment. I do think Brady had a good game. There's a funny moment. I don't know if you guys are going for two. The 12 men on the field. Yeah, you guys going for it on fourth down.
Yes, he was so pissed.
But okay, I I think he caught himself because I don't. Was he trying to call a timeout for the offense? 'Cause I felt
I don't
like
know.
I thought that the play clock's running down. He's on the air saying call timeout. Like there's a Washington guy in motion. The play clock hits zero. Not to get like it's not like it would have changed the game or anything, but
Oh,
it hits zero, and then it snaps, and then the flag comes, and then Brady's like, and then they do the 12, like the ref says 12 men on the field, and then they count. And he's like,
and
yeah,
then
there's
he
12
says
men on
it.
the field. Yeah, so I was like, I don't
He
know if
did
you can
say
do
it like
that.
right after though.
And
They threw
he
the
had it
flag
right
and he
away.
said
He
it.
had it right away.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He might have caught himself,
I mean,
but
those are definitely things that the guys in the booth can feed them quickly. Like they definitely have guys in there that just count the guys on every play. Like,
yeah,
hey,
that's
12
true.
because they can't. He can't do that.
Maybe.
Like while he's looking at the way that the play is set, like
That's why I
how the
thought it
two
was a
teams are
play
lined
clock
up,
thing. That's why I thought it was a play clock. So I don't
might
know.
be
But
saying he's a fraud.
he definitely took the credit though. He got a good nod for that.
Well, and Burkhardt did, like started rubbing him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Got that one, Tom. Look at
Yeah.
you.
That was funny.
Did you
Last
see
thing I gotta say
the
about this.
LFG player of the game?
Oh no, who was it?
Well, it was Jaden,
Oh, okay.
but he asked him what LFG stands for.
He
He's like,
has
"It's a
Jaden.
family-friendly program." No, Jaden asked him. He's like, "It's inappropriate." I was like,
That's
"Why do we have this? Like, what?
yeah. Why are they allowed to give the award and not say the
Why is
name of
this?
it?
Why is this a thing?"
It's
Um,
funny.
but it was cool seeing him interview Jaden because he was asking him like how he, excuse me, how he prepares for the game, and he was just talking about how great his teammates are and how like he's in there every day watching film. He doesn't cheat the game, and Brady just got like the biggest smile on his face, and I started like gushing. It's like, oh my
The big
gosh,
love fest.
the goat loves my quarterback.
He's a top five quarterback in the league, right?
Yes, uh, I had a conversation with somebody today where some pretty reckless things were said
Unless like you're throwing Herbert or
about
like
his.
Matthew Stafford or some
But
bum up
no,
there. Like
it's
it's
it
got to be
wasn't
Jaden.
about him being like on the border of top five. It was him being higher
Oh, okay.
than five.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. Um, I mean, we'll have to see, man. I told you right after they beat the Bucks, maybe they'll just mess around and win the Super Bowl, man. Ugh. We'll talk about the
It's
Eagles and we'll get to
it feels like blasphemy to even say that. Not blasphemy, but like that's not even real. I don't think
right.
the playing in the NFC Championship is real.
No, it doesn't feel
I
real.
don't think that will be real unless they win it. If they lose it, it's like, whew, like I don't know what just happened this season. If they win it, like it will be real.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
it's
31
get ready for
years.
the longest week of your life until the next 2
Dude, I
weeks
was listening to the
if
radio
you
at like
win.
10 a.m. Right, yeah. And I was like, it is Tuesday.
Yeah,
And I am like already
yeah.
so
It's gonna be a
nervous about this
long
game.
time until Sunday. We gotta do a whole nother pod until then. So, um,
I did have one more thing. Back to the you were saying like the other rookie quarterbacks to make it this far, along with the defense they had. There
yeah.
was a stat that I screenshotted, and here are the guys
Okay.
to start in a conference championship. Maisie, what are you doing? Ripping the thread on this. Um, it's chronologically Sean King on the Bucks, Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, Brock Purdy. The defensive ranks of those teams are third, first, third, and third. Oh, and first. Commanders are 18th in scoring defense.
And that's probably pushing it. Like if you look at
They're
some other
like,
stats, they're probably like 24th.
oh, well, and you had games against like the Titans and the Browns where
Yeah.
they gave up 7 or 10 points. And so, yeah, it is unprecedented,
It's magical.
which is why it's so hard to believe like this isn't real, right?
Yeah,
They didn't actually just get the
they did.
beat the line.
Oh
They
yeah.
did.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's definitely something. I mean, like this is like it's a whole new whole new way, like a whole new thing of hope. It's unprecedented. Like there's not a lot of comparisons here. The best comparison is probably Mahomes, and let's see if he wins some Super Bowls. So,
Right. Yeah.
um,
And I was thinking. Well, never mind. We'll preview the game.
all right,
I have some stuff to say about that, but
all
we'll
right.
save it.
Speaking of the Eagles were at home versus the Rams in a snowy game in Philadelphia. Um, the
Awesome
Rams made it
snow.
close.
First of all,
What?
snow was fun.
Yeah,
Snow was
snow's
awesome.
fun. Snow's fun. Matthew Stafford still had a day in the snow. Kyron Williams did everything but get a touchdown. That was so disappointing. Um, but kind of a backdoor cover. Eagles kind of had this secured for last 20 minutes of the game.
Ah,
I
that
don't
got
know.
pretty dicey at the end there. After
Yeah,
that Puka catch.
that's true. That's true. I guess they did come back. They made it a game. They made it scary. But Saquon.
All right, if you were watching in my house, that game was they were never in control of that game.
All right, then take it away. Take it away. I was tailgating in Buffalo, so
That's right, you are. Yeah, I had the pleasure of watching with my father and my older sister, and my girlfriend who ended up going into the other room. Um, yeah, it was. You would have thought that like they were down the whole game. At no point were they losing the game, and it
no.
was just like every play. Oh, it's over. Blah blah. And I was like, is this how I am watching? So I was outside with the dog when Barkley ripped off that last touchdown to put him up 2 scores. Um, so I don't know what the atmosphere was after that. But even at like when I come back in and the Rams go down and score, it's just like, oh, we're in trouble. It's like, really? But I guess the way the game played out, they ended up getting themselves into some trouble because for whatever reason they decided to throw the football instead of run it with Bart. It was like 2nd and 7. Were you watching or were you
No, no, I
like
wasn't
you guys
able to
have it up
watch it
to
this
okay.
drive. No.
So they get the ball, the Rams score, the Eagles get the ball back with like I think it's over 2 minutes, and if they get a first down, the game's over.
Yeah.
So Barkley first play 3 yards, 2nd and 7, they run play and Hurts. There's no one open, but he can't throw an incompletion, so he takes like a 12-yard sack.
Oh God.
And it's 3rd and 17, and did I do that math right? No, not quite. But then they run the ball to Barkley again, gets a couple yards, and then they punt. Then the Rams get the ball back,
Oh,
and
so they're down
they drive
6.
right down the field and get it to like the 12-yard line. Um, and then I don't know, Vic Fangio worked some Dark Lord magic, and I think they sacked Stafford once, and um, then that last play was just an ugly play. But yeah, it got dicey. It got dicey for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the final score, saw the touchdown run, and thought they had control. But I mean, the so this Eagles team, Jalen Hurts has averaging in his playoff wins like 135 yards passing.
Also got hurt.
He did. He did get hurt. I saw that. He had a good rushing attack too. He had that long touchdown run. Um,
Yes, that was before he got hurt.
yeah, that was yeah. I get that. I get that. That's the point. Um, so is he? How bad is he hurt?
Nobody knows. I don't. I don't think we will know until the first drive they have at 3 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what Kellen
Because
Moore
he
says.
doesn't
Same
talk.
game
It's like the
plan.
concussion stuff. They didn't talk about it.
Yeah, the
He's
Eagles
gonna
are weird about that
play
stuff. Yeah, he'll play.
for sure. It's just a matter of what he looks like. But like against this front, like Jared Goff can't run.
No,
Still
yeah,
ran the ball. Like
yeah.
it's freaking
Saquon's gonna be a
Saquon Barkley,
problem.
best offensive line.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be an issue.
it's when
And
it's gonna matter is if they get down. I
mhm,
think. Like if they get up early, they'll be fine offensively. They'll be able to control the game a little bit.
they don't start early. They don't start.
They don't, but they have in these playoffs. They
Okay,
jumped on the Packers with the fumble, and then they had the Hurts run start this game. So they haven't all season. They chosen the right time to start hot.
fine. Jake Elliott is amazing. Can hit like any field goal, but can't hit
Doesn't
like
make any
any extra
sense.
point. Yeah.
But that was the other thing. They were so mad at Jake Elliott, and I was like, he's hit 3 field goals, and the last one was like in the blizzard.
Mhm.
Like, cut the guy a break for missing 1 extra point.
It's
But I
getting
guess
it,
I
it's
haven't
gonna
had to
come
deal
into
with
the
it all
wrong.
year.
It's gonna come at the wrong
Yes,
time.
right. It will.
It's
It
gonna.
will cost him at some point.
I'm
Great,
I'm
great teams
nervous
can't
because
have kids in trouble.
this team is one of those teams that doesn't look good. They're like the Chiefs. They don't have flashy
Yeah,
stats.
but
They
they
don't
win
have
games.
they win games. And that really scares me going against the Commanders.
Yep,
And I really don't want to see another Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. Like that would be so
I
boring.
know.
Um
I just
so
don't. Yeah, they're not a fun team. You'd think they'd be a fun team to watch with all the players that they have, but they're not at all.
no,
They
because they
play
can
these
never all
gross
get in the
games.
same they can't get in the same rhythm together. It's
Yeah.
never they're never firing
And
all at
they
the
just
same
like they
cylinders.
swallow you on defense, so like the other team can't really move the ball.
Mhm.
Rams did though. Rams looked good, especially in the snow, because Stafford in the snow, like once the ball got out of his hands, he played pretty well, and Puka made and Cooper Cup too made some awesome plays. But like watching him try to move around in the pocket in the snow was tough.
It's I mean, I couldn't imagine playing this, so being out there as a
I know. It looked
tailgate
so
is
fun,
it does look fun. It looks fun for like Saquon, who
especially as
like
a running back. Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say it looks fun for like Saquon, but it
yeah.
doesn't look fun for any defender. It doesn't really look fun for the
No, it
quarterback.
does not.
Um, it wouldn't be fun as a wide receiver either, especially if you're like AJ. I'll be reading a book. Like if you only get 2 catches this game, or like run around in the snow, freezing your freaking fingers off. Um, all right. Speaking of the snow, I was in Buffalo with NFL analyst Ethan Valsich. We drove up Sunday morning. We got there. We got to the hotel around 2, and then we just started tailgating. We walked around with a 30 rack and some shooters, and we were just trying to find Ravens fans. We get out of the Uber. We walk down like the Uber doesn't. The Bill Stadium's on this long road. All of Buffalo's like this grid. It's all just squares, and it's on this
Nice.
long road. And the Uber does not want to drive down the road anymore. Like there's so much traffic. He's like, "Can you mind if we drop you off here?" It's like, "Yeah, that's fine." It wasn't too far away from the stadium. We're walking past. I got this giant thing of Michelob Ultra, and where everyone's booing at us, like, "Oh, the Ravens suck. Go Bills." Yada yada yada. And we had to sneak this corner, and there's like 40 Bills fans right there, like 30
I
Bills
know.
fans. We're walking past, we're like, all right, get ready for like heckling. And we're getting heckled at. And then these guys start throwing ice chunks at us, like actual ice chunks. Um, I get sniped in the calf. And like I'm holding this thing, I gotta like duck and like weave and like get past these guys. Um, we're stepping over like a road barrier and like there's guys pelting this ice at us. So we had to run away from them. I was within 7 minutes of getting out of the Uber. We're like, holy crap, what are we in for? Um,
Can I interject?
yeah.
I think it would be worse if you were in a Brady jersey.
Yeah, I think they would just been like, "What the hell are you doing here? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on?" It would have been way worse if we were if the Chiefs were in town and we were Chiefs fans. I
Yes.
think they might have killed us if we were Chiefs fans.
I saw a guy in the first row in a Mahomes jersey
At Buffalo,
on TV. Yeah. It was really weird.
I probably got beat up afterwards. Anyways, notes in Buffalo. Well, first, let me finish. So
Yes.
we walk around, we find a spot. We're like, all right, we're just gonna sit here for a second, and maybe we can find some Ravens fans to come to us and like try to form a little group or something. Um, and then we find these other Ravens fans. They're like, there's Ravens fans that way. We go that way. We find these flags. There's probably about 20 Ravens fans all together. We're like, all right, sweet. We'll just bunker down here. We got some crab soup. It's really nice. Nice
Saw that
people.
on your story.
Um, I'm gonna give some people advice if they're going to Buffalo and they are our age. If you're drinking, eat some food because you will not sweat out the booze. And normally, like going into a football
Oh,
game,
you're used to Gamecock weather.
Yeah, and like I'm sweating it out, and like by the second quarter, I'm sober.
Yeah, you're super up.
I was not sober the whole time. The whole time I was not sober, and I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. I mean, it was a great game to watch as a bipartial fan. Stressful game for both sides of the ball, and just leaving there sucked though. We walked 3 miles away from the stadium to a taco place because no Ubers would pick us up. And
Oh
then
no.
no Ubers would still pick us up at this taco place. And somehow, this random lady that we met walking into the stadium found Ethan on Instagram and was like, and like made a joke like, "How Bills won, like you owe me a beer." And it's like, "How the hell do we get out of here? Like we don't know what to do." And they picked us up at like 11 p.m. or whatever, and
What?
took us back to the hotel. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
And
crazy.
without that woman, my phone was at 3%. Ethan's was probably at under 20. Without that woman randomly DMing Ethan, we have no idea how we would have gotten back to the hotel. Literally no clue. So it was quite the adventure. It was a
That's
lot of
funny.
fun.
Yeah, you would have to like walk until you found a gas station, and ask for directions, like the old-fashioned way, and then
Yeah, it would have
hitchhike,
been.
I guess.
It was bad, and we already walked 3 miles in the Buffalo snow.
Right.
Ooh,
Well,
it was fun though. It was a lot of fun. Um, got to see a Ravens choke in the playoffs live. A brutal choke. I mean, they're down 21-10. It's halftime. They do everything in their power to come back. They're playing a perfect second half. Fourth quarter comes around. Mark Andrews fumble. They, they come back from it. They still have a chance to win. They do miss a 2-point conversion on their touchdown, but they still have a chance to win this or at least tie the game. They get the touchdown. They have a great drive. It looks like Mark Andrews catches the ball. All of a sudden, the ball's on the ground. It was absolutely brutal. The stadium went crazy. I mean, absolutely nuts. And really, I got a feel for Ravens fans here. Um, we play almost a perfect game. I mean, Lamar had his mistakes. He had the bad interception. He had the bad fumble that led to a touchdown. And you can't blame it all on Mark Andrews, but the defense played great for what it needed to do, and uh, you were in a position to win that game, and it was a damn shame how it ended up.
it was a weird game because, like, the whole time, or the whole lead up to the game was, like, these 2 quarterbacks, it's like the 2 MVPs, and then it's just running the football over and over and over again. And, um, like, Lamar played well,
Mhm.
said, outside of that, the interception was bad, obviously, and the fumble was just a weird play.
Fumble, he was just trying
But
too
in the second
much.
half,
I will say
right,
the
yeah.
fumble, you
But in the
can't
second
let that
half,
shit happen, but still.
it can't. And that's why I told you, like, you can't fumble in the playoffs.
Nope.
And 3 of the 4 teams that lost this weekend struggle with turnovers. Like,
And
obviously, we talked about the Lions, the Rams, we didn't really talk about it. They fumbled twice, and then you have the Ravens, 2
it's
fumbles
a,
and a pick. It
it's
can't happen. That's what changes playoff games.
it's the ultimate way the Ravens lose this whole year. Every one of these losses
Mhm.
are the same
That's
story.
it was the a perfect Ravens loss.
Mhm. And I mean, they got great offensive production from like everyone. They had like it was like a almost perfect game besides the turnovers. And it's just Buffalo. They didn't make a mistake. Buffalo had control of that game with the running attack, um, almost the whole game. Besides winning it, like I mean, of course they almost had it tied, but still they had control. And they started losing their grip towards the end, Buffalo, but they got ahead early enough to solidify this victory, and it was man. You got to feel for Baltimore, but you can't make those mistakes.
Nope. And it's like it really does happen every year to them in the playoffs. Like, they just don't look like the same team. But
Mhm.
this year, it was the same team. It was just the wrong version of them.
Yeah.
because every game they won, like they played clean football. And every time they lost, and it's why some of their losses were against doo-doo teams.
Yeah.
Or like they didn't just get outplayed, but they dropped a bunch of passes or they turned the football over. And like Lamar had what 4 picks all season, and then he throws one in the playoff game. So and that was the kind of the concern with the Ravens going into these playoffs was like we know that they're just as talented, if not more talented than everyone that they're going to play. Um, Stupid stuff has been happening all season, and it's kind of hard to account for that when you're picking these games. So I had him winning the Super Bowl, and obviously I'm sitting here like, well, shouldn't have bet on a team where I've seen them get hurt this way a couple times this year.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it's sad because I mean, I don't think I don't think they're gonna go anywhere, I think the Ravens will be in this position next year,
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, and you gotta hope, like, does home field even matter in this game? Like, these same mistakes would still I don't even know. I don't even know what you hope for as a Ravens fan. Um, they're gonna get their consolation prize of the MVP, but I don't know. I don't know what else you do from here. Hope for another wide receiver. Hopefully, Zay Flowers is healthy. Um,
Yep.
but man, it's a it's a shame. I do hope whatever team came out of this, I hoped would be able to beat Kansas City. I do think
Yeah.
that if Buffalo plays the game, even with a low offensive production in this game, if they play the safe way here, then like how they played here. Sorry, then I think they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mhm.
They can't turn the ball over. I mean, if they have a game like this where they get a turnover and they don't turn the ball over, hopefully they can win.
Yeah, it's tough to force turnovers against that Chiefs offense.
Yeah, big time. So the conference championships are lined up. We will preview them later this week. Um, Chris, you got any college corner or anything?
Maryland can't win a road game to save their lives, which is really frustrating.
Mm,
So they lost to Northwestern last week in overtime. They lost to Oregon by 4 and Washington by 5, and that's their road conference. And Purdue by like 6.
yeah, it's
They
not good.
finally won a close game. It was just at home. So I think we're in for like a 10-10 conference year, which I don't know if that gets them in the tournament because the Big Ten's not super great.
They gotta get some road win. I mean, you never know. You can always get some couple road wins that you weren't expected to win.
They got Illinois Friday, and they always beat Illinois
At Illinois or at home?
at Illinois.
All right, true test then. True test.
Look good.
Uh, the Gamecocks are really struggling in basketball. They lost by 3 to Vanderbilt. They did lose by 3 to Auburn at home. That was a heartbreaker. Um, they lost by 20 to Oklahoma and Alabama. They play Florida tomorrow at home. It's a blackout. Last time there was a blackout, it was around this time last year, and it was the Kentucky game. So maybe the atmosphere can get us a good win against a top 5 school again. But then they play Mississippi State on Saturday, go to Georgia. I mean, every game here is tough. I could just name the rest of the schedule, and they're all tough.
CC
It's
is tough.
I would like to see like maybe 3 of these games. That would be nice. Um, it's a long season. We've already had some injuries. It's getting some younger guys playing, so I actually like that. Because there's a kid on the team, Arden Conyers. Guy barely plays when everyone's healthy, but when now that there's a bunch of injuries, he's been balling out. So I don't know. Maybe there's some silver linings here. Maybe we can get some good players, some good minutes. But it's gonna be a long, long season. And that's okay. Had a cherry on top season last year. Couldn't have asked for anything else.
Right.
So
Right.
can't have the expectations too high. All right, that's really all I got. Less
A lot
games.
quicker when we only have 4 games till
I know.
done.
It's getting it's getting to that point. It's sad. You can't even
I
do
know.
you can't
It
even
is
do
a
the three
bummer.
team
That's the best. I think
parlays.
that's the best weekend of the season.
Yeah, divisional game is a great
Conference or
weekend.
championship Sunday is awesome, but it's only Sunday.
Yeah, that's true. You don't get both
It's a
days.
shame.
Well, hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you all for listening. We'll have a full conference championship preview on Friday or Saturday. Actually, let's just do Saturday. I mean, there's no game Saturday. So Saturday morning, we'll be live discussing it all. So thank you all for listening. We'll see everyone on